I should not even be telling this story, but maybe that is why you are here, isn't it? You came to hear a confession so raw, so soaked with lust and moans that even my own breath catches when I replay it in my mind. It began with a kiss that wasn't supposed to happen. A man's lips tracing the side of my neck while my back pressed into the hotel room wall, my own hands trembling as they clutched his shirt. I could feel his chest pounding against me, his scent thick, the taste of temptation filling my tongue before I even parted my lips fully to him. His fingers explored me, and my body betrayed me, melting, arching, moaning, God, those moans I couldn't hold back. And as his mouth sank lower, dragging fire down my skin, I whispered to myself, what am I doing? But I didn't stop. I couldn't stop. Before I take you deeper into that hotel room, before you get lost with me in the sounds, the touches, the sinful ecstasy that stole every sense of reasoning I had, let me remind you. Backhand index pointing right, don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a like, and share this video. This is only the beginning, and trust me, you'll want to follow every reckless step I took. Now, let me take you back. Back to where it all started. I wasn't a woman starving for love. No. I had a husband. A good one, in the eyes of the world. A steady home, stability, dinners where he talked about work while I smiled and nodded. But behind my smile was a hollow ache. Nights of lying beside him, untouched, while my body begged for something more, something wilder, deeper, something that would shake the very breath out of me. That's when he came into my life. Not some stranger from the shadows, but a man I thought I had no business even noticing. Younger, confident, reckless in the way only a man who knows his effect on women can be. He wasn't polished like my husband. He was raw, unfiltered, with hands that looked like they were made to hold me down and lift me up all at once. The first time we brushed too close, my body reacted before my brain. A shiver. A pulse between my thighs. A need. I pretended not to notice, but his smile told me he saw it all. Weeks passed with stolen glances. Conversations laced with meanings that weren't innocent. His voice lingered in my ears long after he left. Until one night, temptation turned into action. He invited me out, just a drink, nothing serious, nothing that would cross lines. But you know how lies sound sweet when you're desperate. I told myself I could handle it. The bar was dim, music low, his hand brushing mine across the table. I swear my body was already moaning inside, craving, aching, every nerve alive. One drink turned into two, then into him driving me back to my car, his arm brushing mine in the silence of the night. And then it happened. He leaned in, lips grazing mine like he was daring me to stop him. I should've. I didn't. Instead, I opened myself, mouth, body, heart, everything, and let him in. Fast forward. That hotel room. That moment where he pressed me against the wall. I wasn't myself anymore. I was a woman stripped bare of logic, moaning, clinging, craving every thrust of air between us. My hands found his shoulders, pulling, begging, guiding. My lips whispered his name, though I swore I'd never say it. The bed wasn't soft that night, it was a battlefield. My moans filled the air, louder, longer, shameless, until I was biting my own wrist to quiet them, only to cry out louder when his rhythm grew harder. I remember thinking, if this is sin, then I don't care. Let me drown. Let me lose myself here. And I did. But let me pause here, because you need to hear this. Backhand index pointing right if you're still with me. If this story has your pulse racing, your curiosity pulling you deeper, then stop right now and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like, and share it with someone who dares to hear the secrets people like me never confess in daylight. Because this is only the first chapter. And what came after this night was a spiral that I couldn't pull myself from, a craving that robbed me of my sense of reasoning. That night didn't end with a goodbye. It ended with his body still tangled in mine, my breath broken, my chest heaving as I lay there realizing I had crossed a line I could never uncross. And yet, even as guilt whispered in the back of my mind, my body whispered louder, again. Yes, I let him touch me again. And again. Each time more reckless, each time more dangerous, each time more moan-soaked than the last. By the time I stumbled home, the sun was already hinting at the horizon, my lips swollen, my thighs trembling, my soul torn. I slipped into bed beside my husband, pretending to be tired from work. He never stirred. He never suspected. But I lay there wide awake, my body humming, my reasoning lost, knowing my life had just changed forever. That was only the beginning. And if you stay with me, I'll take you deeper into this spiral of lust, moaning, passion, and the regret that came only too late. This was the first taste of tremendous ecstasy. The first night it robbed me of my sense of reasoning. And trust me, it only got darker from here. I woke the next morning with sore thighs, swollen lips, and a guilt that clung to my chest like a heavy blanket. My husband moved around the kitchen, making coffee, humming like nothing was wrong, and there I was, sitting at the table with trembling hands, pretending I was just tired from a long day yesterday. But the truth? I wasn't tired. I was starving. Starving for more of him. The man who had ridden me until I screamed into the hotel pillow, the man who had left me breathless, clawing, moaning like I had been possessed. You think guilt would have stopped me? It didn't. If anything, it made me crave him more. By noon that day, I already had his text. Last night wasn't enough. I need you again. And God help me, I wanted him again too. I should have deleted it. I should have thrown my phone into the sink and drowned it. But instead, I typed back with shaking fingers. Where? Minutes later, he sent me an address. Not the same hotel. Another one, farther out, like he was daring me to keep crossing lines. I stared at it for hours. My husband kissed my cheek on his way to work, reminding me about dinner plans that evening with his boss and wife. I nodded, smiled, and lied through my teeth. Because my body was already planning how to slip into that hotel room again. When I walked in, he was already there, leaning against the window, hands in his pockets, eyes burning into me like he had been waiting his whole life. I closed the door, and before I could even drop my purse, he was on me. His lips crashed against mine, tongue fierce, hands pulling at my blouse like it was suffocating me. And maybe it was. Maybe everything outside that room suffocated me. Inside there, I could breathe. And moan. God, did I moan? The sound escaped my throat before I could even stop it, a desperate little cry as his hands slid beneath my skirt, finding me already soaked. I gasped, gripping his shoulders, whispering his name like a prayer I had no right to pray. Now let me pause here for just a second. Backhand index pointing right if you're still listening, still breathing with me through this confession. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone daring enough to handle it, and most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Because trust me, this story is only getting hotter, heavier, and riskier. Alright, back to the room. He lifted me up like I weighed nothing, slamming me gently but firmly against the wall, my legs wrapping around him, my skirt bunched up around my waist. His mouth devoured my neck, my chest, his teeth grazing until I cried out. I kept telling myself I should stop, but my body betrayed me again and again. My moans filled the room, shameless and raw, echoing against the walls. Every thrust of his hips sent me spiraling further, every groan from his throat set my nerves on fire. When he carried me to the bed, I didn't resist. I spread myself wide open for him, moaning his name like it belonged in my mouth. And when he finally sank into me, slow, deep, I swear the world disappeared. I clutched at him, clawed at his back, screamed into the sheets as wave after wave of ecstasy robbed me of thought, of reason, of everything except the way he made me feel. I begged. I begged for more, for harder, for deeper. And he gave it to me. Over and over until my body was trembling, my moans spilling like secrets I could never take back. By the time it ended, I was a mess. Hair tangled, voice hoarse, body quivering. He lay beside me, chest heaving, hand on my thigh like he owned it. And maybe he did. I whispered, "This is wrong." He smirked, kissed my shoulder, and said, "Wrong never felt this good." And he was right. But leaving that hotel room was harder this time. My legs barely worked, my lips still swollen, my body humming with aftershocks of pleasure. I slid into my car, checked the time, and panic hit me. I was late for dinner with my husband. I rushed home, threw myself into the shower, scrubbing his touch from my skin but never from my memory. I slipped into a dress, painted my lips red, and sat across from my husband at a fancy restaurant while his boss's wife talked about vacations and golf. And all I could think about? His hands still between my thighs. My husband reached across the table to squeeze my fingers, smiling, proud to have me by his side. And there I was, blushing, not from love but from the memory of another man making me scream just hours earlier. I smiled back at my husband. I lied again. But deep down, I already knew this wasn't going to end. This wasn't a one-time mistake. It was the beginning of an addiction. Backhand index pointing right. Let me stop here and remind you again, if this has your heart racing, if you're drawn in by every detail of my confession, then you need to subscribe, like, and share this right now. Because what comes next? It only gets wilder, riskier, and far more dangerous than I ever imagined. That night, lying in bed beside my husband, I couldn't sleep. My body was restless, my mind replaying every thrust, every moan, every time I bit my lip to stop myself from screaming his name. I turned to face my husband, his body calm, his face peaceful. He had no idea. But I did. And as I closed my eyes, my phone buzzed on the nightstand. A single message lit up the screen. "Next time, I'm not letting you leave until you forget your own name." And God help me, I wanted that next time. I swore I wouldn't go back. I promised myself the last time was the last time. But promises, I've learned, are easy to make when your body isn't screaming for him. The truth? By the third time, it wasn't even about choice anymore. It was hunger. It was an ache I couldn't silence. My husband could touch me, could kiss me, could even make love to me in his careful, gentle way. But nothing compared to the way this man took me, raw, rough, unrelenting, until moans poured out of me like confessions I could never swallow back. The excuses came easy at first. I'm meeting a friend. Doctor's appointment. Running errands. My husband believed me, of course he did. I had never given him a reason not to. And that blind trust only made my secret meetings burn hotter. The third time, he booked a suite. Not just a room, a whole suite. Big bed, big windows, champagne chilling in a silver bucket like he knew I wouldn't resist. When I walked in, he didn't greet me with words. He greeted me with hunger. His mouth crashed into mine, hands already tugging at my blouse, his fingers sliding inside me before the door even shut all the way. I gasped, clinging to him, moans spilling from me like I was drowning. "God, I missed this," I whispered between kisses. He growled into my neck, lifting me, throwing me onto the bed like I was nothing but his to devour. And I was. I wanted to be. Now pause with me just a second. Backhand index pointing right if you're here, breathing with me, feeling the fire in every word. Don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who dares to listen, and subscribe to the channel. Because this confession? It's only getting deeper, darker, and more dangerous. Alright, back to the bed. His mouth was everywhere. My breasts, my thighs, my stomach. I was arching, moaning, gripping sheets, already begging. He slid into me with one hard thrust, and I screamed his name, louder than I should have, reckless enough that anyone passing the hallway could have heard. He moved like he wanted to destroy me, like his only goal was to make me forget myself. And I did. Every thrust stole my breath, every moan left me senseless. I clawed at his back, bit his shoulder, cried out until tears blurred my eyes. He laughed against my ear, whispering how sweet I sounded, how badly he wanted to keep me here, pinned under him forever. "Say you're mine," he growled. And I did. God forgive me, I did. Hours disappeared in that suite. We didn't stop after once or twice. My body gave out before my moans did. He rode me until my voice cracked, until my thighs shook, until my nails left marks on his skin. By the time it was over, I was spread across those hotel sheets, bare, sweating, trembling. He kissed my forehead, almost tender, and said, "You're not done with me." And he was right. Driving home that night was hell. My body sore, my lips raw, the smell of him still clinging to my skin. I sat across from my husband at dinner, ending to be the same wife I had always been, when inside I was still gasping for air, still moaning in memory. And that was when it hit me. I wasn't just cheating anymore. I was addicted. Backhand index pointing right. Let me remind you here, if this story has you hooked, if your chest is pounding, if you're waiting for what comes next, then subscribe now. Hit that like button, and don't forget to share. Because this story? It isn't just about lust. It's about how lust consumes everything. That night, lying beside my husband, I couldn't close my eyes. My phone buzzed again, and I didn't even hesitate anymore. His message. Next time, no limits. I want to hear you scream until you can't anymore. And instead of fear, instead of guilt, I felt something else. Excitement. Because I already knew there would be a next time. I used to believe I was in control. That I could stop anytime, walk away, return to being a loyal wife. But by the fourth time, I knew the truth. I wasn't in control anymore. He was. His touch was. My own craving was. It started with a single text. Tonight. No excuses. And God help me, I didn't even try to fight it. I lied without blinking. Told my husband I was exhausted, that I wanted an early night. Kissed his cheek, slipped into bed beside him, and waited until he was snoring softly. Then I crept out, like a thief. Only what I was stealing wasn't money. It was myself. The hotel this time wasn't discreet. It was downtown, bright lights, valet parking, crowded lobby. My heart pounded the whole way up to his room. Every second felt like I was about to be caught. But when he opened the door and pulled me inside, all that fear melted. Because the moment his lips claimed mine, I didn't care who saw. He didn't undress me gently. He ripped at me, clothes falling, buttons flying. My moan started before I was even naked. He pressed me against the wall, one hand pinning my wrists above my head, the other sliding down between my thighs until I cried out. "Say you missed me," he whispered against my ear. "I did," I gasped. "God, I did." And that was all he needed. Backhand index pointing right before I take you further. If your heart is racing right now, if you're holding your breath with me, don't forget to like this video, share it, and subscribe to the channel. These confessions don't stop here, and you don't want to miss the rest. Back to that hotel wall. He took me hard, right there, my body smacking against plaster, my moans echoing louder than I could control. I clawed at him, begged him not to stop, every thrust making me forget my own name. By the time he carried me to the bed, I was already lost. He bent me, twisted me, had me in positions I didn't even know I could handle. I screamed into pillows, dug my nails into sheets, sweat dripping, tears streaming. Not from pain, but from pleasure so sharp it broke me open. And the worst part? I didn't want it to end. Hours passed, and we barely spoke. Our language was skin on skin, mouth on mouth, moans that filled every corner of that room. He pushed me past exhaustion, past sanity. At one point, I blacked out for a second, only to wake with him still inside me, still riding me, still dragging me deeper into the abyss. By dawn, I couldn't move. My body throbbed, my throat raw from screaming. He kissed me then, slow, almost tender, and whispered, "You belong to me now." And the terrifying truth? He was right. Driving home that morning, the sun rising, I looked in the mirror and barely recognized the woman staring back. Hair wild, lips swollen, eyes shining with something between shame and satisfaction. I was living two lives. And the one at home? The one with dinners and chores and a faithful husband? That life was fading. Because in his arms, under his body, lost in his rhythm, I was alive in ways I never thought possible. Backhand index pointing right. Let me remind you once again, if this has you hooked, aching for what happens next, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. Tap like, drop a comment, and share this video, because the final chapter is where everything comes crashing together. That night, lying beside my husband, I couldn't help it, I moaned in my sleep. The dream of him still inside me. My husband stirred, confused, whispering my name. I turned away, heart hammering, pretending to still be asleep. But I knew the truth. I was on the edge of being caught. And yet, even then, I couldn't wait for the next time. Body, lost in his rhythm, I was alive in ways I never thought possible. Backhand index pointing right. Let me remind you once again, if this has you hooked, aching for what happens next, don't forget to hit that subscribe button right now. Tap like, drop a comment, and share this video, because the final chapter is where everything comes crashing together. That night, lying beside my husband, I couldn't help it, I moaned in my sleep. The dream of him still inside me. My husband stirred, confused, whispering my name. I turned away, heart hammering, pretending to still be asleep. But I knew the truth. I was on the edge of being caught. And yet, even then, I couldn't wait for the next time. The last time should have been the end. But instead, it was the beginning of the end of me. He told me not to bring anything. No purse, no phone. Just yourself, he said. And I obeyed, like a slave to a master I swore I didn't have. The room he picked wasn't a hotel this time. It was a rented cabin, tucked away in the woods, no neighbors, no curious eyes. Just silence, and him. From the second I stepped inside, I knew I wasn't leaving the same woman. He didn't kiss me hello. He didn't give me time to breathe. He pinned me against the wooden door, tore at my blouse until the buttons scattered across the floor. My moan broke the silence, sharp, meaty, unstoppable. I swear, even the walls heard me. Backhand index pointing right. Before I take you all the way in, don't forget, like this video, subscribe, and share it. Stories like mine, raw, forbidden, soaked in lust, don't come easy. Support the channel so I can keep opening up. Back to that night. He used me like I was made only for him. Bent me over the table, pressed me into the rug, lifted me onto the counter. Every place in that cabin carried my cries. My body was shaking, begging, surrendering. At one point, he dragged me outside into the night air, pressed me against the hood of his truck, stars watching as I screamed his name. I thought I'd faint, thought I'd break apart, but I didn't. I kept moaning. I kept begging. I kept craving. Because reason had left me long ago. By the time he finally let me collapse into the bed, I was drenched, sweat, tears, and something deeper I couldn't name. He kissed my neck and whispered, "This is who you are now. Don't fight it." And the terrifying thing? He was right. Driving home after, I cried the whole way. Not because I regretted it, no. But because I knew the truth, I'd never stop. He had rewired me. I was no longer the woman I pretended to be at home. Beside my husband, I was a wife. But with him, I was an animal. And animals don't reason. They just crave. So here I am, anonymous. Confessing to strangers because I can't confess to anyone else. My husband will never know. My friends will never guess. But you, listening right now, you know. You've walked with me through the nights, the moans, the guilt, the craving. This is my truth. And even as I whisper it, even as my hands shake, my body aches for him again. Backhand index pointing right. If you've stayed with me this far, let me ask you one last time. Like this video, share it, and hit that subscribe button. Because my story may be closing here, but my craving will never end.